Hi everyone, today we're starting a new project that we meant to do for a while. It's specifically replacing the curtains that came with our A-liner. There's nothing really wrong with the curtains, they're just not to our taste. We'd prefer to have something more conventional, something that lets some more light in from the top than these do. It became a bigger problem when we hung up the shelf, which we like quite a lot in here. When it's loaded down with weight from our possessions, it pushes on the curtains a little bit and makes them even harder to roll up and get out of the way. So what we're electing to do is take them down completely and replace them with a conventional one, taking advantage of the shelf that we put up as a mount for a curtain rod. And from the triangle part up, it's going to be a window cling that's supposed to look kind of prismy, nice in the sunlight. We'll see about that, but you don't need a curtain at the top half of it then because nobody can see it anyway. And this video is going to show you how we did that. Okay, the first step of the project, of course, is to have a curtain rod to use. I went to Home Depot with the expectation of just buying a wooden dowel. When I got there, I found something that would be a little bit better choice, however. It's one of these. It's a fiberglass garden stake, 5-foot length, and I believe it's about a 1/2 inch diameter. You can see what I got here. It is not only cheaper than the wooden dowel, but it's got a big advantage in that it's extremely sturdy. It's unlikely anything's ever going to catch on this and break it. Very durable. The second part of it, to hold it up onto the shelf, are these clips. You got one for each end in this size. What it's going to do is drill a hole through each end of the curtain rod, right where it needs to be, to snap up onto the shelving unit. Then I will clip off each end and round them and make them look pretty. I might possibly spray paint the curtain rod. The advantage to this method, though, it stays up very nicely, but if I ever have to remove the curtain rod, it's just a matter of snapping it off, and when I'm done, snapping it back up again. It's a very easy to take on and take off method that's not going to fall off easily when it's not supposed to. Very little money on these either. We're up to about $4 on the project at this point. The next step is to measure how long the curtain rod needs to be. I know it's going to hang only about a 1/2 inch below the shelving unit. The shelving unit itself is 48 inches long. That's my holes that I'm going to have to drill on the end of my curtain rods are going to be precisely 48 inches apart in this case. But the curtain rod is going to extend past the ends a bit. So we're going to find that part out. You just have to estimate roughly 52 inches in this case will be plenty. So we're going to cut it off to 52 inches, put the holes 48 inches apart. Interesting. There. Okay, and here's the rod installed. You can see it's just hanging up, and you can kind of see how the clips work. They just literally snap into place. Not real hard to pull on, a little harder to pull off, but that's good because we don't want them to just fall off in transit. And now we just have to maybe paint it up because I don't like the green, and make the curtain to go with it. The next step is to take down the original curtains and put up the window cling. The window cling I'm using is one that's supposed to look like little prisms when it's up. We have actually used it in our house before. By this particular brand that I got off eBay, this oversized roll was like 22 bucks, something like that. Basically though, the premise is you cut the piece approximately to size to fit over the window, get the window very clean, get the window a little wet with just regular water on it, just spritz it down, and it starts to adhere, and you use a little squeegee or a credit card to push all the bubbles out. When you get basically completely done, it's oversized, so you take an X-Acto blade, helps to use a brand new blade too, nice and sharp, to trim it around the edges and finish squeegeeing. Once that's done, your job is completely finished. It's actually pretty straightforward. The only thing that's going to make it a little difficult on this camper is I'm going to have a hard time reaching up at the peak while it's in here. I'm going to have to stand on a step stool or something to reach the top and put it all in correctly. Other than that, this should be pretty straightforward. the window's now clean. The piece of cling is cut out to a triangle shape that's about 1 inch oversize. Now it's time to wet the window, pull off the adhesive backing, and start smoothing into place a little bit at a time, working from the center up to the edges, moving out all the air bubbles. Okay, window cling is officially up. Looks pretty good. It did take a little longer than I expected. The reason being we have these curves in the windows instead of square corners, so trimming it with the X-Acto blade at the corners and edges was more difficult than otherwise could be, and therefore it took longer to also squeegee it all out. But it's up, it looks good. Next step is paint the curtain rod and make the curtains themselves. And here we go with the finished product. Curtains up, shelf up, and the window cling up. Sort of hard to explain. I'm hoping the camera will show just how much brighter it is in here than it was before with the original curtains. Just by virtue of having that upper triangle staying uncovered with the refracting window cling material, it's really quite a big difference. The curtains down below my wife put together. They're just material we got from Joann Fabrics that we thought would be good in the camper, kind of match the motif a little bit. She sewed them together in a day and they look great. Fairly private down there too. Pretty happy with this modification. Overall, I'm going to call this one a winner.